Hey, what's up, everybody? Big D here, and you guys are about to watch my top 10 worst films of 2014. This is just based on my opinion, guys. So this is just, don't take it personally. This is just what I thought was the top 10 worst. It's pre-recorded. It's on a microphone, so you'll be seeing this. You won't be seeing me. And so let's see the list. Thanks so much for watching. And I'm working on my top 10 best right now. So again, let me know what your top 10 worst is also. See you guys in the next vid. Happy New Year's. Number 10, Godzilla. Now, I didn't really enjoy this movie. Sure, having Bryan Cranston and Aaron Taylor Johnson in a movie together, and it was hyped, but overall, I just wasn't satisfied. They showed more humans than Godzilla. Godzilla fight itself was pretty cool, but overall, it's just disappointing on how the pacing was and the writing, and plus the villain itself wasn't as cool as a Mothra or the other Godzilla monsters would have been. Number 9, Non-Stop, starring Liam Neeson. This movie originally, I believe, came out in February, and it was not even well promoted. It wasn't even a success at the box office. It was just, I'm a huge Liam Neeson fan, and I was disappointed by this movie. It had interesting parts, but overall, it just wasn't as good as I thought it would have been. I believe the commercials misled it, and it's kind of a repetitive type of thing for Liam Neeson now. So I still have hope for Liam Neeson. I still believe he's a top action Hollywood star, and I just don't want him to become a Stallone and be repetitive over and over and over and over and over. But still, this movie wasn't wasn't my cup of tea, and I really don't want to watch this movie again. Number 8, The Expendables 3. Now, overall, with a great cast, adding Harrison Ford and I already forgot Antonio Banderas, and just a lot more. About 5'4", Wesley Snipes was in there. This movie had the hype for me, and I was ready to go in. And when I went in, it was a disappointment. I like the new cast members, but just with all the hate around it, and then actually I was blind and I actually saw the truth to it. And I was thinking to myself, you know what? This movie wasn't as good. And honestly, if Bruce Willis would have stayed in it, if they would have kept, the original, they could have added Chuck Norris back. Maybe it would have been more fun. It just kept on going action and unbelievable ways. And it was boring in the beginning. It was slow. And just trying to introduce all the characters, it's just so much to handle for one movie. So definitely I wasn't a fan of it. And that's why it's at number 8. But there are worse movies than Expendables 3. Number 7, RoboCop, the reboot or revision of this, hit and miss franchise. I was looking forward to this, and they put a lot of work and effort into this, and having Michael Keaton and the guy from The Killing in there. I thought he was a good RoboCop, and I thought Michael Keaton in there was pretty fine. It's not it was just the pacing and the way the story happened of how he became RoboCop and everything, and overall the emotion between his family and everything kind of lacked, and I wasn't just so happy with it overall. And I had so much hype, and I was telling my friends, you know what, this movie's gonna be awesome, and don't hate on it, and ended up failing in the box office and failing in my expectations. So that's why I just don't release movies in January and February. For some reason, most of those are in that area, and I just wasn't a fan of this RoboCop. And honestly, I would like to see a sequel, just someone else besides the guy from The Killing, because he had his shot, and the new suit was cool and everything, but it just lacked a bunch of feelings, and the action wasn't as much fun as the original. Number 6, Transformers: Age of Extinction. I actually had hype for this movie. Now, I knew it wasn't going to be great, but having Mark Wahlberg in there, that says a lot. The moment when Mark Wahlberg got announced that he was going to be part of the cast, I rejoiced. I was like, okay, can they save this franchise? And when I went, oh my gosh, the writing was, I literally wanted to walk out of the movie, and it was the midnight release, and all it was explosions, 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 and I literally got tired of the action. This is the most repetitive thing I've seen of the year. Michael Bay, stop it. Again, a lot of people are saying this, but it's true. I wouldn't even consider this a movie. It was just pretty bad, and I don't think I'm ever going to be watching this movie again. And it didn't do nothing for me, for Mark Wahlberg. I think he added something cool to it, but him wearing those fake glasses, come on now. That's just, ugh. Let's stop talking about this movie. Number 5, Left Behind. This came out in October, and this starred Nicolas Cage. And, you know, I like the original trilogy of Left Behind, not so much the third and last movie of the trilogy, but the one with Kirk Cameron. And, you know, this movie wasn't all that bad. It had a message. It delivered the message. And, you know, I'm religious, but taking out my religious thoughts to it, just the effects to it and the acting was, it was unbearable. This is a movie that really shouldn't have been in the theaters at all. It really should have been at a straight-to-DVD thing. And I'm surprised it didn't get talked about a lot because it's under the religious fact and everything, and not many people talk about it. But still, Nicolas Cage added to it. His part and his role, it was just in an airplane the whole time. It was boring. We needed to be outside that airplane more, and there's just so much to it that I could rant about, but it just failed to reimagine the trilogy, the original, and Kirk Cameron always did it best. Number 4, The Amazing Spider-Man 2. Now, this is my least favorite superhero movie of 2014. It was, I just hate the promotions for it. They showed all the good parts in the promos, the trailers, the commercials. They shouldn't have teased that Gwen falling and Peter catching. It just ruined everything. And when I went, I felt like I saw everything in the trailer. I felt like I already saw everything that needed to be seen, and it's true. When I went, there was nothing else that really surprised me. The acting was so-so. The action itself, I mean, the effects were pretty shitty. I mean, they weren't horrible, but it wasn't as great as Winter Soldier was, as Guardians and X-Men effects were. And it just really led down to where I don't want Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man no more. I liked him in the first one, but the second one just really ruined it for me. I don't know why, it's just I wasn't a fan of it. And that's just the simple truth, basically. Number 3, 22 Jump Street. I was really hyped for this movie, and you know, when it gets announced and everything, I was just, holy hell, 21 Jump Street was such a cult classic already. Just the film itself, you know, it's already a classic, just like Pineapple Express and so on. But this movie, it was just one of those sequels where it was like, no, this did not need to be done. It was like The Hangover Part 2 all over again, where they shouldn't have made it. And they already announced 23 Jump Street, and I don't want to even see that. I'll see it just to see it, but still, I'm like, no, it was horrible. The villain, it was weak villain. The action was just sequelized. Basically, in every sequel, it adds bad jokes, and I just think the Lego movie was more enjoyable than 22 Jump Street. And Jonah Hill and Channing Tatum back together, sure, the chemistry was good and all, but it still failed to bring up my full expectations for this lousy sequel of a movie franchise. Number 2, Sex Tape, with Jason Segel and Cameron Diaz. This movie actually looked funny in the promos, and when I actually went to see it, it was just boring. It was not worth the money at all. It's not even worth $1. Don't see this movie. I'm sorry. No offense to Jason Segel and Cameron Diaz. It was just wasn't good. It wasn't funny. Everything in the commercial is funny, and then when you actually see the movie, it was just a failure, and I never want to see this movie again. I don't want to even see an advertisement. The Facebook still posts stuff about the movie, and I get angry at it. I think I'm going to dislike it, because it was definitely, it should have been number 1, but I believe this number 1 movie will fit your taste buds. And the worst film of 2014, the number one spot goes to Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit, or whatever this crappy film title was, or the name, I don't know. I'm a huge fan of Chris Pine. I went to go see it for him, and I don't even know what happened in the movie, because I literally snored. I don't know why. I don't even know why I went to go see it. What made me lead to go see it? All it was blah, 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 government, blah, 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 government speech, blah, 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 blah. And there was barely any action. Kevin Costner was in there. He did a great job. But overall, it just lacked action. It lacked emotion. It lacked character. It just, I literally, even Chris Pine regrets even making this film. So definitely don't ever see Jack Ryan, Shadow Recruit, whatever. Definitely, it's the worst film of the year. So that's my top 10 worst films, ladies and gentlemen. I hope you enjoyed. Going down the list again: Godzilla, Nonstop, Expendables 3, RoboCop, Transformers, Left Behind, Spider-Man 2, 22 Jump Street, Sex Tape, and Jack Ryan Shadow Recruit are at least 10 of the worst films of 2014. I will never see these movies again, most likely. So that was just my thinking, man. Thank you guys so much for watching this. Hope all of you enjoyed. See you all for my top 10 best films of 2014. And let me know your top 10 worst films and what you guys think about my list and what you hate of this list and what you like of this list. Thanks so much. See y'all soon.